What's going on out there, YouTube?
What up, YouTube?
It's been a minute. We're sorry. It's been like about a week and a half, bro.
Yeah, I just started working.
And I'm working 24/7 anyway, and we're doing film projects, and we got like studies that we got to do, and
changing the world, stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, we're just like saving the world. You know what I'm saying? But today we're here for the brand new review for Sin City, spawned off of the classic 2005 by Robert Rodriguez, starring everybody. I mean, Benicio del Toro, Rosario Dawson, Jessica Alba, Clive Owen, Bruce Willis, Mickey Rourke. I mean, classic characters such as Marv, Nancy, all the different Dwight. All these characters are going to a forefront now with the new movie Sin City: A Dame to Kill For. And you know what I thought about the movie? It was garbage. I'm gone.
For real? Oh my God!
I'm just joking. I'm just joking.
Whoa!
I'm just joking. I'm just joking.
I didn't even know that. I didn't even know he was gonna do that.
we were just playing. We were just playing. Yeah, the reason why we haven't done the review so soon is that we have been really preoccupied. It had nothing to do with the movie's content at all. But yeah, we'll go ahead and level it down. So the visual effects and just the cinematography in and of itself, it's the same kind of feel as the older one as far as like this noir kind of feel. But they added a new element to it now with 3D. And the 3D make it feels like you got like a comic book strip that's kind of set in a certain kind of time frame, but it's like popping out at you, especially when the rain is actually coming. Like there was one scene I looked up, and like the character's looking up, and you see like the rain pouring down, and when you're looking straight at the screen, you're seeing the rain hitting you from that direction, and it's just such an awesome kind of feeling. It immerses you into the same world that you know, but like off the gate, you know this stuff is about to go down. You start seeing like pools of white on the ground, you start seeing like arrows stuck into people, and you're like, okay, this is Sin City. Like they're not gonna change, it's not gonna be like that Spirit crap. I don't know if you saw that,
yes,
but Spirit sucked. You like it?
I like it.
Yeah, it sucked. But visually, I really actually like the special effects for this one. I think one thing I will say is not as many explosions, it's not as many gruesome deaths. But the practical effects that they use from the older one is definitely implemented into this one, especially when like characters such as Johnny Boy, and he goes into the casino and does like his part of the story. I thought those scenes were really well done. Those were visually immersive. Like there were times you're like, wow, what in the world just happened, But I mean, I really like the visual effects. I give the visual effects for this one actually a 9 out of 10 because the first one, it still has not been recreated the right way. In and of itself, like that was a perfect 10. And I mean, they just copying the same exact thing, but they're adding a 3D element to it and just adding more story and background to it. So I give it a 9 out of 10. What do you think about the visual effects, man?
Visual effects, man, it's original. You know what I'm saying? Love it. I give it a 10. I give it a 10.
So this forces us to go into the acting. So this is a whole different group of people, but it's the same people technically. Actors such as Michael Clarke Duncan, Brittany Murphy, they're dead in real life, so of course their characters had to be reprised by other people. The Allstate guy is replacing for Michael Clarke Duncan, and then Brittany Murphy's character got replaced as well. And then also now you got a new element, which this is really Dwight's story. Dwight in the first one, he had like this side story where he was with like the bartender, Brittany Murphy's character, and then he's following along with this guy named Jackie Boy because Jackie Boy, he feels like he's like a threat, and he's going into Old Town where the prostitutes are really the law of the land, and he's going back and just trying to protect them. But you can tell that there's a backstory there that's not there, and if any of y'all have actually read the comic books, you know that A Dame to Kill For came before A Long Kiss Goodnight, or what was it, Hard Kiss Goodnight? I can't remember the actual comic that the present one, the 2005 one was, but Dame to Kill For, which this one is set, it comes before. And so there's continuity issues with it, which I'll go to more when we get to the story part, but the actor that plays Dwight is actually he goes through reconstructive face surgery, and that's the reason why Clive Owen's character looks the way he does, and Josh Brolin is the same as that character, so it fits for that role. But I thought that Josh Brolin actually did a good job. I actually really liked his character. What I didn't like is when his character went through that transformational phase, it kind of felt really weird, and I really was looking forward to seeing like maybe Clive Owen reprising the role to switch it over, and he didn't. That kind of like, as a moviegoer, I was really looking forward to that, and that kind of let me down. But oh my gosh, Dame to Kill For, Evergreen, she is the femme fatale. Like, she has a presence on the screen that just lights it up. I mean, when you see her green eyes for the first time, it doesn't happen at first, but when it does, you'll know that this is a whole nother game of a person. Like, she's deadly, you know what I'm saying? And not in a physical way, but in an emotional way. And the way that she gears towards people, it's just so eloquently done. And the only thing I don't like is so much nudity in it, but I knew from the comic books that's how it was going to be anyway.
Right.
But did you know that Angelina Jolie was supposed to play that role?
Oh, really?
Back after 2005, Rob Rodriguez was saying he wanted Angelina Jolie. She was sold for it. Back in 2007, when they were going to make it, she was going to be sold for it. And they were already setting it up, and they just waited 10 years. And that's part of the problem, I feel like, but I'm not going to go into it. But honorable mentions for me would be Mickey Rourke's character as Marv. I really liked him. I really like Josh Brolin, Evergreen, and I actually like the way that they did Rosario Dawson and Jessica Alba's character this time. Like, as feminists, they did a really good job of like playing the roles that they were kind of born into with the 2005 one. There was more screen presence, and they did a really good job as far as the acting is concerned. But what about you? What you thought about the acting? I guess what stood out for you?
What stood out, man, was probably the diversity of roles. Mm-hmm. Yeah, diversity of this cast, man. It was like, and now I'm not just talking about diversity as far as like race, but I'm talking about just about like styles of actings and their presence. Man, yeah. It was just very insane and very they meshed well together. You know what I'm saying? One thing I missed from the first one was how, alright, so if you watch it from the first one, Dwight's character, you know what I'm saying? The people that were involved in that story, that plot, they had like overly dramatic lines. I don't know if you noticed that.
Yeah.
But I thought it was kind of corny, but then again, I thought it was kind of cool. Mm-hmm. But in this one, it's not there so much. It doesn't really bother me. I'm just thinking about it right now. It's probably like a week since I seen the movie, but you know what I'm saying? I just thought that gave the first movie like a...
It was more substance to it because it was its own. Like, it was kind of like a parody of itself. Yeah. But it kind of parodied this like, okay, this is a classic kind of thing. It's a cult classic kind of feel.
And plus, like, you know, the old 50s kind of movies, like, they actually had like overly dramatic lines. And plus, it's like, you know what I'm saying, with the cars that people are driving and stuff like that, it's kind of, you really don't get like a good grasp of like what time this is set in, but I think that's a good thing though. Yeah, I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, get that gun out of my face. No, I really did fall in love with the characters initially, and everybody that brought back into the roles, they got immersed back into the characters really well. Yeah. So as far as the actors are concerned, they did the job. Joseph Gordon-Levitt though, and the character of Rourke, these guys, they lit it up. As far as I'm concerned, they were the best thing about this. Like, Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character and his interaction when he finally faces off with Rourke, it's like, it's an amazing... that could have been a story by itself if they would have drowned it out the right way. And, I mean, for the acting, for me, I give the acting an 8 out of 10, believe it or not. I actually enjoyed it. I really enjoyed each person individually. I thought that there were certain characters, like when Doc from Back to the Future came up randomly, I was like, I don't know where that came from, but he played his role really well. But believe it or not, Joseph Gordon-Levitt and him played in Angels in the Outfield. So, I mean, that's them going back together, which is really cool. But I enjoyed the acting. What about you? What did you give it, I guess, if you had to give it a 1 to 10 for the acting?
The acting, I'll probably give it an 8. One thing about the acting that I really enjoyed is how you had some of the people from the first movie, but You know what I'm saying? You would think that they would have a heavier presence than some of the newer cast members, in which they didn't.
Exactly.
That's one thing I really enjoyed about the movie, because you got these new cats and it's like, wow.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's one thing I really enjoyed.
Yeah, man. So one thing we've kind of both said is that this is a different continuity choice that they did. Like with the first one, they try to play on different scenes and different sections. Where you had, I think it started off with the first one with Bruce Willis's character, and he was trying to search down the character of the Yellow Bastard, or Rourke's son, and then of course he gets shot up. Spoiler alert, sorry. But at a certain point, then it cuts to Dwight's character, and this randomly happens throughout, but like it all fits in very well. This movie, just half of this movie, literally takes place before 2005's version, and so you're brought back to the character of Dwight, and you kind of get an understanding of what's going on with him. But that's the central focus of all of it, really. And there's points where it kind of phases out, and you see like Marv's character, and you're like, Marv is dead. Like, how is he interacting with these certain characters? Now, Jessica Alba's character, who plays Nancy, she's back, but she's dealing with all these emotional demons from what happened to Bruce Willis's character, who got killed because of like trying to help her and trying to save her. And like, I love how passive the aggressive she is and how dramatic the whole thing was, but it felt really short. It felt like the weight of A Dame to Kill For story arc overweighed her storyline and Joseph Gordon-Levitt's storyline. And for me, like, that made the continuity feel fixed, but at the same time, you didn't know what stuff was which. Like, Jessica Alba's characters, her arc takes place after the 2005 version. So that should be the future. And I heard that Frank Miller actually wrote these stories just for the movie. And that's fine, but I think that they should have left that for another movie.
Yeah.
As opposed to trying to add other things in just to kind of bring these characters back. I understand, just for publicity wise, like, it'd be good to bring Jessica Alba in. It'd be good to bring Joseph Gordon-Levitt in. But if you want to literally do it, then just do straight what the character is supposed to be. And that wasn't how the first one was. It was all these different storylines. So I see why they tried to do it, but the continuity just didn't work. And there were certain things which I can't spoil to you that didn't make sense, as far as certain characters being alive and then certain characters that weren't. And I mean, other thing is that I think Joseph Gordon-Levitt's, like, his story arc, do you even know what time frame that actually happened? Do you know if that happened before or after? I want to say it happened after, but I really don't know.
I don't know.
And I mean, the story was so well done, but I mean, maybe that's the beauty of it. Maybe it could stand on its own. And maybe it's one of those movies that you have to go back and see again to kind of get it, because the beginning of the movie takes place with Marv, and Marv, at this point, I thought should have been dead. So I don't know what took place. I have to go back and really look at this movie again, but I have to give the story, I guess, as a whole, a 5. But each one individually, I give them 8. Does that make sense to you? Mm-hmm. What do you think about the story?
The story, man, it's, I don't know. After watching the movie, I felt like something was missing, man. Because I'll say after the first one, you know, and I was seeing Bruce Willis's character, which was probably one of my favorite characters in the movie, and you know what I'm saying, Marv, the character Marv, you know, and actually just watching those two guys and their stories, and then Dwight, you had Dwight in his story. After watching those stories, man, it was like, wow, like, these guys are going through some stuff. And after each character worked out, it was like I felt resolved after each one. Mm-hmm. You know, however they ended, whether tragically or positive, I felt a resolve. And that after each story, I was like, wow. You know what I'm saying? I kind of felt like a good exhaustion after each story. And what I mean by that, it was like, wow, like, that put me through. This guy went through some stuff. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like in this one, the second one, I'm just like, some of the stories just stop. You know? I feel like they just stop. They just cease. And I'm just like, I don't.
So it wasn't really much substance to.
Yeah, they didn't have that much
story
substance to some of the stories. Like, I feel like they could have went harder. They could have taken him deeper.
I think that even with Joseph Gordon-Levitt's story arc, I think that they could have continued that for 2 other movies, quite honestly.
Yeah, definitely.
And it could have been weeded out so much better if, I don't know, if they should have added more characters from the original into it to make more sense of it, or what. But it's like the Dame to Kill For, they went through the whole entire thing from the beginning to the end. I got it. You know what I'm saying? And it goes into the next one. I just didn't like the way it looked, and I didn't like the fact that Clive Owen wasn't back with Plies in the Road. That kind of pissed me off. But it ended on a good note that you understand what happened to Dwight's character and who he is and how psychologically damaged he is because of just this person that he's interacting with. And I mean, Borland does a good job with it.
I feel like that plot was good. That was well
it was
resolved.
completed.
Yeah, but for some of the other stories, side stories, I was like, ah.
Yeah, and it's like, it's not that the side stories are bad.
Right.
It's the fact that they just ended and they're interwoven in between the Dame to Kill For story arc. And it's like, I think that Jessica Alba's story arc of Nancy, even hers, like, I was like, man, okay, she's going in doing this. Like, where is this gonna take her character? And I mean, maybe they fleshed it out to try to have it like, okay, now for the third one, this is where this all comes full circle. But I don't feel like they can afford to do that. Because I mean, even with 300, the first 300 versus the second 300, we talked about this. I had done a review on 302, but I didn't like the fact that 302 took place in between the time frame of the first one and before. It wasn't like, okay, at the end of 300, then it goes and keeps going. It's like, it was the beginning of it, and it was right during when it was happening with Leonidas and his like 300 Spartans. And I didn't like that. And I mean, I think that's what they kind of tried to do with this one. The only issue with that is that 300, they will make a third movie because they have the financial backing. But because of the box office this year or this weekend, I think they got 8th place, and they didn't even break $10 million. So it's a possibility at this point. They're not even gonna make a 300 or Sin City 3. So them trying to hold stuff back to continue on the story arc was fruitless. The only way I think that Robert Rodriguez can counteract this is if he goes back and if hopefully he shot the footage and he adds in the stories for each one of them. Like in this one, there's an extended edition on it that gives you the whole entire story for the person. Like they add the whole interwovens of it individually. You can go and watch them. If they do that and they kind of push that when the DVD sales or the Blu-ray sales come out, then there may be a possibility of them they be like, all right, this is what happened. This is what we were going to try to do to lead into a third one. But at this point, like nobody is going to be sold because they're not even going to watch the movie. I'm debating wanting to go see Guardians of the Galaxy right now. And I mean, I know I need to watch this movie again so I can better get it. But I don't feel like there's other people that are going to do that. And there's some people out there who really enjoyed it, but I really enjoyed it. Like I said, I give the movie as a whole a C+. I just didn't like the way that they tried to save money and make money by following us into two of the story arcs into a third one. It cut it short and it stopped the flow of the film. And I mean, you kind of like, when the credits came out, I was like, this it? And not that good kind of just it. It's like, it wasn't that kind of good. It's it like, I want more. Right. It's that kind of, man, how you gonna ruin it? You know what I'm saying? It's like, I feel like there should have been 30 more minutes.
Yeah.
That it should have done something with. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I feel like that too, man. And I'll say this too, man. Like, in the first one, there was a lot of mystery. You know what I'm saying? People were just, you had the characters just thrown in situations where it was just like, they didn't even know what exactly was going on. I think that element was a big part of the first one. Because with each story, it's like, oh my gosh, like, dang.
And
like,
even what happened to the characters.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, if you think about Marv, like, Marv in this one, he can go through everybody and anybody. But when he came up against Kevin, like, that was an adversary. And the things that he would do was just so, like, horrific. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And, I mean, that weight factor, even when Hardigan, or Bruce Willis' character, interacted with the Yellow Bastard and found out, like, how sick he was, and when he dealt with him physically, and you saw him punching like yellow spurts into the ground, like there's not that kind of wow factor there. You know what I'm saying?
And grittiness.
And even, I mean, think about like when Marv interacted with Jackie Boy for the first time in the bathroom. He pushed his head into the toilet, and like Jackie Boy was like throwing up yellow, and you knew it was pee. Like those kind of subtle scenes like that, those are few and far between because they're trying to continue with the story as opposed to making something original. You know what I'm saying? And like those subtle moments, those wow factor moments were not there.
Right.
But it still felt like I was still immersed into the role. I was just like, I'm waiting for something to wow me. Right. And it did to a certain extent, but then the ones that did wow me, it was over for the characters.
Right.
So anyway, we can go on a tangent for this for days. We were supposed to have the spoiler-filled review. Our people in the UK, they're not going to be able to look at the movie too much later. And then roll credits, Adele, she's actually moved now back to Australia. She's doing bigger and better things, so she's not going to be able to watch the movie until in September. So yeah, we're not going to do the spoiler-filled review, but we are going to do it on The Hobbit. So The Hobbit 3. We're going to be doing that one. So hopefully y'all did enjoy that one. But yeah, from now on, we're going to actually go and do what's called 5-minute movie spills, where we go to movies, or if y'all have any movies y'all want to recommend, we do like a 5-minute thought process about it. Then we'll go ahead and have it up for y'all straight from the phone wherever we are. And that way y'all can be a little bit more connected with us. And I think what I want to try to do, Joe, is have like kind of a question and answer kind of thing. So if anybody has any kind of questions for us, then we can go ahead and have like a full video, and we can let you know who we are, what we're doing, what more about our channels that we want to come from everything. So matter of fact, after this, if y'all have any questions about the movie, please leave them down below. If you like this video, please like it. But if you have any questions at all tonight, or tomorrow, or whatever day y'all looking at this, please leave them down at the bottom. Personal questions, no matter how deep they are, about me or Joe, and we'll go and make a video about it. You know what I'm saying? And I'll make a more official one so everybody will know and have a question about it. But yeah, man, that concludes our non-spoiler review for
Right On.
Sin City, I Dame to Kill For. SEL0320 signing out.
Yo, side note announcement on you know what I'm saying, my page, you know what I'm saying. Currently in the works, you know what I'm saying, if you're into animation, I'm currently in the works of a tutorial as we speak. So yeah. I know it's been a long time coming, you know, some of y'all been waiting, but yeah, it's currently coming to you soon, coming to you live.
Oh, how can we forget? So we got a surprise for y'all. Believe it or not, me and Joe, we talked to Adele Roll Credits about this amazing show, but we have been waiting to get through the whole first season. We're actually on the second season of the animated series Sword Art Online. If any of y'all have ever heard of it, please, like, stay tuned, because we're going to go through a whole review of the whole first season. And we're going to try to bring Adele Roll Credits into the review, so she'll be a part of it as well. But this anime is by far one of the best animes I've ever heard. And like, we'll talk about it more later, but I had to mention that one, Joe. Like, I'm excited. I'm on episode 8. We're on episode 8. Waiting for episode 9 of just the second season.
Part 2.
So y'all wait for that to come soon. But we out, everybody. Hope y'all enjoy the review. Have a great one. Oh, snap.